So we have this week both Charlotte's Web and The Reef. The Reef, which was released in America as shark bait. And just to get it out of the way, the only things you need to know about The Reef are this. It's a digimated film with a fish having to overcome a whole bunch of stuff, including fighting a shark. And at various points, scenes which you just think, now hang on, I've seen Finding Nemo. And when I saw Finding Nemo, it was funny and inventive and witty and moving and sad and touching. And this is Finding Nemo, but stupid and thick-headed. And it's got Rob Schneider doing one of the voices. And they've had to change the title to pretend that it's not the movie that didn't do it. I mean, it is really poor. And, I was saying about the sort of the paucity of great kids' movies. And you look at The Reef, shark bait, however they want to call it, and you just think, they're just not trying, are they? I mean, this is really so substandard. Very, very poor, very unfunny. So the thing you're left with is Charlotte's Web. Now, Charlotte's Web is an interesting case. As you quite rightly said, very, very famous kids' novel, held up by many as a sort of exemplary case in dealing with issues of life and death, because it doesn't shy away from the issue of the circle of life, which, of course, is also dealt with in The Lion King, as you all know. Now, I should say in advance, and I have some first-hand experience of this, that there are some kids who take the sad elements of Charlotte's Web very badly, and because, not everyone makes it to the final credits. The story is, in this case, is about a young pig who is being looked after by a young girl played by Dakota Fanning. The pig doesn't realise that his main purpose is to end up on the table. And in order to prevent the pig ending up on the table, all the farmyard animals get together and wonder how they're going to stop this happening. And there's Charlotte, the spider, starts doing magical writing in her web. And the pig becomes a sort of local celebrity. And the whole thing is about, is the pig famous enough not to end up on the table? Now, this in itself is quite grim. It's quite dark. And, of course, if you're not a vegetarian, I wonder just how... I mean, it's very easy for me to sit there and and say, oh yes, this is all absolutely fine, because I don't eat meat. I mean, I eat fish because fish deserve to die. But if you were somebody who was taking your kids along to see this and they did what, I mean, I think it's a good thing. But I'm just saying it's basically about the way in which meat ends up on the table in the same way that Babe was. The difference is it isn't Babe. And there are things about it that are admirable. The fact that it doesn't entirely shy away from the subject of death. The fact that it does have at least aspirations towards telling a story which is not just... I mean, you put it next to The Reef, which is just empty, vacuous, sugary nonsense, and it does have some form of substance. The problem with Charlotte's Web is, firstly, the book itself, I think... people have such great memories of the book, such fond memories of the book, it's going to be hard for any film to live up to that. Secondly, it has all these very famous voice artists, Julia Roberts, Steve Buscemi, John Cleese, Oprah Winfrey, Kathy Bates, Robert Redford. I mean, everyone's in it. There is a great vogue at the moment for getting really famous people to do voiceovers. But, just because you're a really famous actor doesn't mean you're any good at being a voiceover artist. Robin Williams was absolutely brilliant in Aladdin and changed the sort of, the face of modern voiceovers, because suddenly people realised the potential of having a really snappy comedian doing that kind of stuff. And when you look at Toy Story, I think it's some of the best work that Tom Hanks has ever done. But when you look at this, it's just famous names being roped in for no particularly good reason. None of those people have the charm, for example, of Eric Thompson, who did all the voices in The Magic Roundabout and invested every single one with a real, genuine character. So I think that watching it, you think, well, it's not entirely without merit, but it is rather plodding. It does have a dark side that I don't know... I don't think is going to be for everybody. It's not dark enough for me, and it's not light enough for some others. And I think the greatest problem with it is it's just a bit mediocre. But up against The Reef, and let's all say it together, it is Citizen Kane.
And fish deserve to die because...
they can't be bothered to evolve and get out of the water and get onto the land where all the movies and fun stuff is happening. Then they're on their own.
Right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
That